right, friends, it looks like it says I'm live, but I always wait for it to pull up. So I'm going to also pull this up on my phone so that I've got this up and ready to go. There we are. I think I just have to hit play and mute so we don't get a bad echo. Perfect. I think I might need to do a little refresh on my phone because it's not wanting to pull up. There we go. All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome to YouTube Live with Pinkfresh Studio. I'm Leah Lawson, and I get to hang out with you guys for the next hour. We are going to create a card with one of our new products that released yesterday. I'm focusing on the Circle products today. So Heather and I sneak peeked the arches last week. And so this week, I thought it would be perfect time to showcase those circles because they're just as fun. So it's been a busy couple of weeks at Pinkfresh Studio. We, of course, we're getting ready for our release today. We had Create and Connect over the weekend. We have an independent retailer virtual event going on right now. So our schedules have been packed, but we're hanging in there and super excited to be here with you guys and showcasing all of our new products. So something that I'm just going to chat about right off the bat before we get going is we know that our blending brushes sold out in like record timing. And it was just something that we couldn't have foreseen. The sheer excitement about it, both from a retail perspective and a wholesale perspective. So with that being said, what we urge you to do is go to the set you want pardon me, lost my train of thought. Go to the set that you want or both and sign up for a restock notification. So then what that does is that puts you on a list. And the minute that we get inventory added back in, so when our restock comes in and we add them back in to our shop, it will send out an email. So it will let you know that they're coming back in. So highly suggest doing that. We expect our restock to be here mid-March, so not too long. And so definitely a good thing. I'm not going to answer questions throughout the live about the brushes, just because if I do, I won't get to finish my card. So I'm going to mention it here now. And then we've got Heather in the comments moderating. She's typing under the Pinkfresh Studio name. And I have a feeling that Henry's probably going to jump in here and there as well. You're welcome, Glenda. Okay, so we are going to be doing some hot foiling today. I've got my hot foil system up and it's actually already hot, I think, because I did a little practice session because I'm using a foil color that I actually have never used before. So I wanted to practice first. So my machine is actually all ready to go. So we'll be able to get going right when it's time. So we've gone over blending brushes. And now let's just go over our normal stuff. If you are new to our lives, welcome. We're so happy that you're here. We're happy that you found us and we're happy that you're joining us. I don't see as many comments once I flip this camera around and start creating. So I just want to give everyone a big blanket hi and welcome. We're so glad that you're here. And if you're new to us, we hope you enjoy what you see and you'll come back and hang out with us each week. Second, we give away a $15 gift card code at the end of every live. So all you have to do to enter for your chance to win that gift card code is currently what you're already doing. Hang out in the live chat. You can comment on the project. You can ask questions. I don't see as many questions once I start creating. I try my best, but I definitely don't see them all. But Heather is there to answer what I miss. If we both miss it, we're not ignoring you. We probably just didn't see it. Comments tend to fly sometimes during lives. So just give us a little bit of grace on that. And if your if your question was left unanswered, feel free to just answer it again. Also, if you know the answer to a question, feel free to answer it as well. So all of the comments in the live chat are entries into the giveaway. You can also share this video underneath somewhere, there's a little button. It has an arrow and it says share next to it. Click on that. You can share it to your Facebook page. You can share it if you have like a message or a DM with crafty friends. You can share it there. You can share it in a crafty Facebook group as long as it's allowed. Please make sure you check the rules, know the rules, that group, because some groups don't like that. So just make sure that you're following those rules. So, and to come back here, let us know you shared, and that's an extra entry. Now, finally, this isn't an entry into the giveaway. It's just something that we ask you to do that really helps us, is to give this video a thumbs up. That helps on the reach. That helps the reach of the video both now while it's live, but also on replay, helping us find other crafters out there and growing our live stream and hoping we can just get crafters more inspiration for their Pinkfresh buttons. All right. Well, it looks like we have quite a few people here. So I'm going to go ahead and get this camera actually not flipped around yet. We're just going to angle it down because we're going to start out with some hot foiling. And I actually found, because my upward angle is minimal, that you actually get to see more hot foiling when I just angle this camera down. Never fear, we will switch to this guy for most of it, but I always feel like you get to see more of the foiling process when I just angle this one down. So I'm going to go ahead and do that real quick, and we're going to get going. I'm just going to make sure that I feel like you can see everything. Ignore my mouse pad there. See a lot of people chatting about our new release and loving all of the new shapes. We love to hear that. We can't wait to see what you guys do with your new products once you get them. Hi, Kathleen. Thanks for joining us today. Okay, so I'm feeling pretty good about that angle. There we go. Okay, so you'll see. I'll kind of angle it up here. My platform is ready. And the way that I know that is I turned it on the back. There's a little button on the back that you flip on. And then you just wait for this platform light ready button to turn green. It won't be on. As it's heating up, it's blank. Then it turns on and it's green once it's ready to go. So today we are going to foil the previously released nested circles. So these released last year, but this circle product that we released just yesterday coordinates perfectly with it. So I am going to use the second largest circle. That's the one we're going to use today. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put it on my platform. And then we're going to click the timer button and basically just wait for it to stop blinking. You'll see right now it's blinking. When it stops blinking, that means it is heated up enough. So today I am going to use the pink foil. And funny enough, out of all of the pinks I've used, I've never just used the standard pink before. It's just a nice shade of pink. It's a little lighter than some of the other ones. So that is the one I'm going to use today. That's why I did a little test, because I haven't ever used it. And I always like to try foil out first. So while we're finishing and waiting for this to heat up, I'm just going to cut a little piece of foil here and get it ready. So I know that I only need about 4 inches for this smaller circle. That gives enough leeway around each side to know that it will foil properly, but I don't need it much bigger than that. A lot of people think they can't figure out what they want from the new release, and I totally get that. I feel those vibes. All right, so our timer is ready to go. And I have to tell you guys something that I learned today, actually, that I didn't know. So we're doing this independent retailer event, and Spellbinders is a part of it. And so I had it up today watching the show so that I could be in the chat for when our segments came on. But they were doing a little Glimmer thing. And I actually learned that the frosted or the thin shim that comes with your kit, or excuse me, with your Glimmer hot foil system, is heat resistant. So it's the one that it's supposed to go on the bottom, and then the spacer pad, or the more clear shim, goes on top because it's technically not heat resistant. I had no idea. I didn't know that there was a difference. So I learned something new about Glimmer, and I thought I would pass it along. Had I read the, probably if I had read the whole booklet, probably would know that, but I didn't. So just passing on a little bit of info that I didn't know before. This is heat resistant. So it goes on the bottom and goes onto the part at the top. Okay, so our timer has turned off. We're going to go ahead. I'm going to remove the platform from the base, and then we're going to start our layers. So you want to layer your foil pretty side down, and then you want to layer your cardstock over top of that. And then we're going to layer the heat resistant pad and the top pad in the correct order. And then I'm just going to go ahead and slowly and gently run it through my Spellbinders Platinum 6. So I like to do it just nice and slow. I don't rush it. I also don't feel the need to run it through back and forth. I feel like that can cause shifting at times because I don't typically tape my foiling down. And I also just have never really felt like I need to do the extra. So let's go ahead and peel our foil away. And we got absolutely perfect results. I'll make sure to show you guys this also when we switch over to the other camera. But while we're here, let's go ahead and take this guy off. I think we have enough time. I think we have enough time that we can do the solid foiling, but we will have to chat a little bit while we wait for the solid plate to heat up, because I need the solid plate to heat up twice. On my system. Some people can do it just once. I think hers works just once, but I've just found with my machine that I need to heat the solid foil up twice. So we will just chat a little bit while I wait for that to heat up. And I'm just going to kind of get things prepped and ready to go here. A couple of things. I'll also give you guys a couple of tips for the solid plate. Yes, I'll mention that one more time just in case anybody missed it. So I learned this today in an event we're doing for independent retailers. So the thin shim, which is kind of a frosted green, it's heat resistant. So it's the shim that's meant to go on the bottom or towards the heat. And like I said, it's the first time I have actually ever learned that. So, all right, as I mentioned, I need my solid plate to heat up twice. So you'll see that the timer stopped blinking. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to just start the process over basically. So I'm going to remove the platform from the base. It won't take too long to say platform ready. Then I'll hit the timer button. And then after that timer button shuts off the second time, we should be good to go on the solid foiling. Sherry, nope. It might just be my camera angle. This is the same exact solid hot foil plate that we released a year and a half ago, I guess. So it might just be my camera angle, the way that I just narrowed down the camera just so you could see a little bit more of my desk for the foiling process. But no, it's not bigger. It's the same exact one. So a couple of tips with the solid plate, if you're new to using it. If you're getting spotty or inconsistent results, one, let it heat up longer. It's a very large piece of metal that needs to get heated up. It's very different from the little smaller designs that you see in the hot foil. So it definitely needs sufficient time for getting heated up. Run it back and forth through your machine. You'll see that's like the one difference that I do between standard foiling and solid foiling is I do run it back and forth because you really can't, the whole haloing or shifting doesn't come into play with the solid plate. And then finally, you may need to add a paper shim or two. I would start, around 80 to 100 pounds first, not adding any more, but you may need to add a paper shim or two into your sandwich, just dependent upon the pressure of your die cut machine, the age of your die cut machine. There's so many factors that go into it. Don't forget, Heather and I do have two foiling 101 classes in our foiling playlist here on YouTube. So there's a lot of tips and tricks in those as well. There's one for standard foiling and there's one for solid foiling. Okay, so our timer button went off. We should be good to go to solid foil. So let's go ahead and remove the platform from the base. Let's put our foil pretty side down. Just try to get all of those pieces within the confines of the solid plate. And then go ahead and put your cardstock down that you want to foil to. And then the shims with the frosted one or the heat resistant one as the first. And then I'm going to go ahead and run this through my die cut machine, both front and back. I still go relatively slow. I don't like race it through there. I want to give that foil ample time to really adhere on to that cardstock. And then we'll check and see how our results were. Now, when I tested this out earlier, got a little bit spotty results on the edge, but it was fine because I pulled it out towards the middle. So let's just see how it goes here. I'm going to try to angle it towards you so you can see. And this time around, I got absolutely perfect results. So look at that. All right, friends. Well, the foiling is done. So I'll show you those foiled pieces here in just a moment, but I'm going to flip my hot foil machine off and move it out of the way here. And we will get switched over to my desktop view. So I'm going to put this back up. Hi. And I'm going to go ahead and get switched on over to my desktop camera here. Bear with me while I do that. Okay. All right. You know, Allison, I don't actually know what causes the hazy or spotted foiling to happen. It could be not enough heat. It could just be, there could have been dust or paper fibers in play. There's a lot of things that go into foiling. I would say it's not a perfect science. So foiling has really definitely helped me to embrace that not everything has to be completely perfect and it's still beautiful. Oh, you can see me. Anyway, so we have our solid and our standard foiled versions here. So now I think we're going to just set these aside for now. We'll die cut them later, but we're going to go ahead and get going on the stamping and the ink blending for the Circle Floral set. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my stamping platform. And we are going to grab the new Circle Florals stamp set. It's really lovely, kind of curved flowers so that they work perfectly with the circles. And we're just going to go ahead and grab that one piece stamp. Now you'll notice I am actually pulling the acetate away from the stamp rather than pulling the stamp away from the acetate. I just think that that is a safe way to do it, so that you're not running the risk of warping or bending your stamp in any way. Thank you, guys. Glad you're enjoying the foiling here. Okay. All right, so we've got that on our cardstock here. And I completely forgot to grab out my heat embossing stuff here. So you're gonna have to bear with me for a second while I do this, because we are going to heat emboss today. So I'm going to prep my cardstock with some anti-static powder. Okay, that should be good. And then we are going to ink it up and heat emboss it in some gold. Get this a little bit better on camera there. So I use embossing ink. You can use whatever embossing ink. There's lots of them out there. This just happens to be my preference. And then I'm going to ink it up probably a couple of times just because I'm a light stamper. And I do feel like the anti-static powder also dries out that cardstock a bit. And it kind of makes your ink seep in a little bit more on that first impression. It's actually pretty good, but we are going to do it one more time. Thanks, Lori. It's just some washi tape. I think there are even some things like companies out there that have made specific, more durable things to go on them, but I figure washi tape works perfectly fine. And I've got that in like cases. So, all right. Yes, poor Heather had to give up her circle set for the greater good, but she will get it soon, I'm sure. That's the reason why we used the arches last week. All right, I'm feeling pretty good about that impression. I'm just going to take a quick peek at it. Yeah, I think that's excellent. So I'll clean the stamp off later. It's just embossing ink, so it doesn't bother me if it stays on there a little bit. Then let's go ahead and we're going to heat emboss this in some gold. So Sherry, I believe Shannon on our team did heat emboss on some foiling once. I think I tried it once and I got really bad results, and I'm not completely sure why, because Shannon got amazing results. So I think you can. I think it might be a practiced thing. So what I would say is try it. Don't expect perfect results. I think you have to troubleshoot a little bit. Okay. So there is our embossing powder. So now I'm going to heat set. It should mute. So, but if it sounds like it goes silent or it's garbled, that is the reason why. Alrighty. So there, our heat embossing is done. Nice and pretty. I think I forgot to mention that was Brutus Monroe Gilded. Just a nice standard gold. It's my favorite gold, but there's lots of gold embossing powders out there. All right, so I am just going to kind of dust off here, make sure I don't have any residual embossing powder on my desk. And then we're going to get going on the ink blending. So I'm going to kind of do things a little differently today. We are going to do blue flowers and pink leaves, because in my world, in card making, it does not have to be realistic. It can absolutely be what you want it to be. So that is what I am going to do today. Let me just grab my ink stand here. I think I'm actually going to move this guy over just a little bit, so I have a little bit more room. Oh, that's right. I do have the sticker on my tub that I used. So you guys, I guess, did get to see. Okay, so we are going to grab the stencils. The great thing, always look on the back of your packaging, because there's always some really great ideas on the back of the packaging. This is a 5-piece stencil set. I'm actually doing all of the stencils in exact order, so no deviation there for me. If you're new to our stencils, they're numbered in the upper left corner, and there are alignment guides in each corner that align perfectly with a 4 1/4 by 5.5 inch panel. When you're lining them up with a stamped, heat embossed, or foiled image, you don't use those alignment guides. You actually just align it up to the image. So that is what we will be doing today. I'm just going to tape my stencils into place once I've aligned them. All right. Just get there and make sure they're nice and lined up here. Ooh, that one. Oh, good. It just barely brushed the side of that flower that's up there. Okay, so as I mentioned, I'm going to do blue flowers and pink leaves. I need to grab out my blending brushes, so give me just one moment for that here. I think I need this set. Okay, so I like the small brushes for this stencil set, just because the flowers are pretty small. We are going to start with Summer Shower. And yes, we did include additional sentiments on some of these stencils. There's a bit of extra room and we didn't want to waste that room in there. And so I think I'm going to use one of those today. So you'll get to see one of them in action. We'll do that after we ink blend in the flowers. So we're going to start with the flowers here. I think my stencil got just a tiny bit off. So I'm going to just realign that real quick. There we go. Much better. I must have moved it. Okay. So I also like these little smaller brushes because I can avoid, I don't want to ink blend in this circle. I love having the circle there, but I'm not using it today. So it just gives me a little bit more control over where I'm putting this ink. And then I can save this little spot for ink blending that sentiment that we're going to use here momentarily. Okay. And I am just doing this first layer in Summer Shower. It's not the lightest blue in this color family, that's sky blue, but I wanted these to be a little bolder. So I picked the 3 darker shades of blue in this color family. And I think that this is going to just turn out super fun. And I love the little bit of control I getting to blend a little deeper at the base of the flowers and then blending it out so it's a little bit softer as you go out towards the other petals. Okay, so we are done with the first stencil. We've got the start of our flowers coming in. Glad to hear some people are excited that they love blue flowers. Hopefully you'll also like the pink leaves. All right, so we are moving on to stencil number 2. So the best way to line these guys up is there are some flowers that were not colored in that last one. So if you line those ones up, the details will basically just fall into place on the rest of the stencil. Okay. Take your time getting that lined up there. That's good. And we are going to move on up to Seaside for this layer. Just wipe any excess Summer Shower I had off. Now, as we go into Seaside and then the next one is Storm, these ones get to be quite a bit deeper. So, oh wow, I really got that stencil off. I'm glad I saw that. Oh goodness. There we go. So much better. Whew. I'm glad I noticed that. That one was really, really off. Anyway, back to what I was saying. Seaside and then Storm, they are pretty deep blues. So I kind of wipe off a lot of excess on my glass mat so I can pick it back up so it's not going to waste. And because my biggest rule with blending, and I always say this, is you can always add more ink, but you can't take it away. It's not like watercoloring where you can kind of go in and take it away. So I would rather start a little lighter and then add more as needed. Okay, just going to get these, finish these blending in. Yep, and as I mentioned at the beginning of the stream, I'm going to just leave any blending brush questions to Heather and Kinnery in the comments, just because I know that there's a lot of questions about the restocks and everything, but I won't be able, if I answer them all, I'll never get this project finished. So I'm not ignoring your blending brush questions. I'm just leaving it to them to answer, just so you guys know. Okay, I am feeling pretty good about that layer. So let's take a look. And oh goodness, look at how pretty that is, friends. I just love these little small flowers and the detail that gets added in with the stencils. Okay, so now we are on to the final layer of details. And so basically on this one, these are all detail layers. So they are not coloring in anything that hasn't been colored in yet. So essentially you want to just make sure that you get them inside those flowers that you've already colored, and then you're safe. There's really no, as long as they're just not coloring out of the lines and won't accidentally get cut away from the dye. You're good to go on that one. All right, so then we are bumping up here to Storm, which is the darkest shade of blue in this, this color family. We have 2 blue color families currently. And this is one of them. And Storm is the darkest in that. Okay, so finally, now this is just more details, and I'm not super worried about gradation or shadowing or layering or anything on this one. These ones are really mostly just about getting some color into that final layer of details. Okay. Let's see here. Let's get those colors in. And I'm just going to pick up that excess ink just so I don't waste it. Thanks, guys. I'm glad you're enjoying the change of over to blue flowers. And there is the final here, the final result on the flowers. So we have just a couple of stencils left. And that is the greenery, but it's not going to be green today. It is going to be pink, which I'm excited about. I like to change up colors. So we are going to start here with some sparkling rose. And I'm just getting the stencils lined up. Glad you guys, Heidi, I'm glad you like that blue color family. It is so pretty, so pretty. Okay. All right, just got to find my pink brush here. Give me 1 second. All right, so I got my pink brush. Then I buff it out just in case it has any excess darker pink in it. And then we are going to get going on the sparkling rose, the first layer of the leaves in sparkling rose. Thank you, guys. And I think I must have missed a question about, you can tell that there's a little bit of dark ink left in there, but that'll be okay. I must have missed a question about how we wipe our brushes off, and this is just a dry, lint-free cloth, and I just do my best to get any excess ink out on that. I don't really clean my brushes very often, mostly just wipe them. Yes, someone said it's going to be pinkery instead of greenery. Perfect. It's a perfect term for it because that's exactly what it's going to be today. All right. I think we've got our first layer nice and inked up here. So let's take a look and see how that turned out. How fun is that, friends? It's a nice little change up, I think. You know, paper crafting, and nothing has to be realistic. We can change things up and do them the way that we want to. So we are on to our final stencil. I don't know why I picked that up. I need tape, not the brush yet. So there we go. There are some elements not colored in yet on this final stencil with the pinkery. And so that is what I'm lining it up to. So you'll notice there's some over here we haven't colored in. There's some here. There are some definitely throughout that haven't been colored in yet. So a pretty easy stencil to line up. Okay. Just feel like whenever I put the tape down, I keep kind of pulling them out of alignment. So I'm going to do that and kind of fix what I did there. There we go. Oh, and I did it again. Goodness, friend. I might need to get new pieces of washi tape, but I'm going to try to make them work because we've only got this one stencil left to do. But I think my washi tape kind of keeps moving on me because it's not sticky as much anymore. There we go. All right. And finally, Raspberry Bliss. We're going bold on this final stencil. So we are going with our deepest shade of pink, which is called Raspberry Bliss, and it's so pretty. I think it matches Pantone color of the year almost perfectly. So if that's your thing, check it out. Exactly, Mona. This is art. I can do whatever colors I want. It doesn't matter if it doesn't happen in real life. It happens in my crafty studio. Thank you. You do you. Absolutely. Okay. Just get this little bit of excess up here. And we are almost ready for the final reveal on our floral images here. I will pull it up to the camera here just 1 second. Let me get these. So there is how it turned out. And isn't that just fun and lovely? I just love how it turned out. Okay, I'm not quite done ink blending yet. I'm going to put this back down on my surface because I want to grab the miss you sentiment. I want to make sure I don't get any blue ink anywhere that I don't want it. So I'm going to go ahead and take a minute and just clean this off real quick. This is just some isopropyl alcohol that I leave in a spray bottle on my desk. And I am just going to clean that ink off so I don't run the risk of getting that ink anywhere else on my card. The great thing about rubbing alcohol, or it's just the standard alcohol you get at like a Target or whatever, is that once you clean it, it's dry immediately. So I know that I have plenty of room in here to ink blend the sentiment and still be able to die cut out those flowers. So I'm just going to place the sentiment in that little area where I know I have room. And then I'm going to go ahead and tape it down. And we are going to do a two-toned sentiment with Raspberry Bliss and Storm. So I'm going to blend from the top into the pinks, and from the bottom, it's going to be blue. And there might be a little tinge of purple where they meet, but I think that is kind of almost a magical magical touch. So I see a question and then I missed it. Peggy, yes, the flowers are heat embossed in gold. And of course, this will be available for replay right after I end the live stream. So if you want to see me heat emboss them, you certainly can. Okay, Berlin brush. All right. I do like to kind of hold the stencil down when I'm doing sentiments like this, just because I have found sometimes your brush can kind of sneak underneath the stencil on sentiments for some reason. So I just find if you kind of hold your finger in place, kind of helps keep them in check there. Hi, Mindy. Glad you could join today. So I blended a little deeper at the top. You know what? I should have just grabbed another one of my ink pad or my ink stands to hold my other shade of ink. That would have been helpful, right? Okay, so then same, I'm gonna grab some Storm. And I'm gonna hold my finger down, not where I'll ink blend into it, but just where I can hold that stencil more in place while I'm blending. And I feel like that just makes it so your brush doesn't accidentally get underneath the stencil. And then I'm gonna blend some Storm in. And I got just like the tiniest little shade of purple at the top of the Y. And that is fine by me. I think it's a little magical and maybe a little bit just on that end of the M there. Okay, just blending a little deeper at the base of that so we get a good ombre gradient. And so then one other tip I have for you guys that I have found works best for me when I'm blending sentiments is don't wipe it. So just go ahead and pull your stencil up without wiping the ink, and then you don't run the risk, because sometimes in the sentiments, there are little smaller, more intricate pieces. And if you just pull that up, don't wipe it down, I found I get better results that way. So just a couple of tips that I have found when it comes to ink blending sentiments like. Okay, I am going to do just a tiny little bit of tidying here, and then we will get started on getting things cut out and all that fun stuff. Okay. So get these out of the way. All right, so we have our circles and we have our flowers and our part of our sentiment. I'm going to do one more sentiment, actually. Let's do that piece really quickly because I'm also going to need to die cut that. So I know that in the Around the Shape Circles stamp set, I wanted this, You Fill My Life with Sweetness and Love, to stamp. Actually, you know what? Nope, I know I wanted to provide some dimension for this. So I am going to do it on a different piece of cardstock. I just thought that looked really nice with the Miss You sentiment. It's kind of like a nice little secondary. So let's actually do that really quick. I just want to verify, I have this nice little piece of scrap cardstock, but I want to verify first, though, that I have enough room for the die to work. I don't want to accidentally do too much there. Perfect. It sure is. So we will use this nice little scrap piece of white cardstock that I have sitting here. And we'll grab this stamp. So you'll notice in these stamps, we kept some area in the stamps rather than cutting them out, because we thought that that would make the stamp a little too flimsy. So we left a little bit of photopolymer in there to help keep the integrity of the shape of the stamp. So we did that. You'll notice with all of them, really, you'll see a little bit of extra photopolymer in there, so that just basically helps them maintain their shape. So they can be a little bit bendy if you cut away too much of that photopolymer. And we really wanted these to maintain their shape. Looks like Heather's back now. I think Pinkery was helping out for a moment. We have lots of things going on at Pinkfresh today. So it's all hands on deck, and we are all kind of chiming in and doing things where we need to. So I was thinking about heat embossing this, but I also really feel like I might like that crisp detail black to this, so it stands out a little bit more. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I think I'm going to pivot on that, and I think I'm going to do this sentiment in detail black so that it will be really nice and crisp and strong, and a really great secondary sentiment to that ink blended sentiment. So I'm just grabbing my little cube. This is a pretty dainty sentiment, even though it's uppercase. Even almost looks a little bolded, but it is still small and dainty. And so I like to barely kiss the surface of my stamp because I can stamp twice. And then just do a nice light press. And that just maintains the integrity of it. I do need to stamp again. It was a little light. But that's the great thing about having these stamping platforms. You can stamp again, and I don't have to press too hard and accidentally smoosh my sentiment, or, just change the integrity of how it looks. That would have been a great option too, to do the sentiment in Storm. I think I'm going to stick with black just so it will pop a little bit from the color of the ink blended sentiment, but that would be a really lovely addition. I do agree with you. All right, so I forgot to dampen my cloth, but I do have some water here, so I'll just, thankfully that got on my glass mat and not on my sentiment I just stamped. But I'm just going to go ahead and wipe down that sentiment real quick. I don't always feel the need to use the stamp cleaner on sentiments. I feel like they wipe down pretty easily. It's more the big images, or when you're applying that detail black to a larger surface, I feel like you need that stamp cleaner. So I'm going to go ahead and put this away because I'm notorious about losing sentiments. So I'm going to get this guy just put away immediately so we don't have to worry about it. And now we are going to get our die cutting done here. So we now have all of our pieces. I'm going to show you guys, I did pre-die cut my background, which is the dotted Scallops Coverplate die. And then I trimmed it down with our largest stitched rectangle. I did that for the sake of time because I knew I had kind of a lot of different elements going on here. So for the sake of time, I did do that in advance. I actually know I'm not going to use the solid version today. So I'm going to die cut this one later, just because I know we only have about 10 minutes or so left, and I'm not using it today. So I am going to just die cut out these 3 pieces. Didn't that stamp perfectly? I just love it. And then I think it's going to be fantastic when you kind of layer in that miss you sentiment. Oh, it's just exciting. Okay, let's start with our flowers. I'm going to get them lined up. A little piece of tape in there I want to get off. I'm glad you guys are liking the color combo. I know it's a little different than what we used to do, but I'm actually gonna be completely real with you guys on the color combo. I picked this color combo because I really want to use the Starry Sky and Twilight glitter drops that just came out. And I think I'm going to have to ask for forgiveness if they've sold out, because I didn't even think to check. And normally we try to check that kind of stuff. It's just been such a whirlwind of a couple of days, actually, honestly, a couple of weeks. It didn't even cross my mind to check and make sure we have them. So if we don't, I do apologize. And just think of it as inspiration for when they are back in stock. And yes, so a lot of people are mentioning the Art Deco frame that came out. I don't think I'm using it today. I'm going to see if this will fit. If it doesn't, oh, it fits. Great. I can die cut these out at the same time. Save a little bit of time here. I don't think I'm going to use I'm not using the Art Deco set today. I should have. I didn't even think about that. But that's in our new release as well. And it's lovely. It was in our holiday cards workshop create and connect event kit last year. But we felt like now was the perfect time to release it. It does look really good with these. Oh, thank you. I'm not sure if I think it's Heather that's back now. I'm glad they're in stock. That was a total brain flight not to not check those. All right. I took a little time. I just wanted to make sure I got those all nice and lined up. And I'm going to run these through my die cut machine and I will be right back. Oh my goodness. So when I scheduled the email and checked all of the inventory yesterday, the circles had empty in stock. So they must have sold a lot during the night and into today. So I did not know that. I didn't know that those were actually out of stock. Goodness. You guys have loved this release and thank you. We appreciate that. That is awesome to hear. Mona, that is so kind of you to say. We love to hear that. Thank you. Mona said her card making has elevated so much because of our products and the tips and tricks we share. And we really appreciate hearing that. That's very kind. And comments like that really help us keep going and, doing everything we can to put our best forward. Right. Let's get this guy put away. And let's go ahead and get our circles cut out. So this one I'm just going to cut out with the outer. So we're going to just do some layering with these ones. I'm not going to turn them into little frames, but you certainly could if you wanted to. So I'm just getting them nice and lined up. Okay. Carol, yeah, I did. So I think if you saw my video, I just tucked that little flower kind of in with the sentiment because I couldn't leave it out. It is so darn adorable. So yes, I think that little guy is so cute too. All right, we're gonna go ahead and get this guy cut out and then we'll cut out that last circle and we can start getting our card assembled here. I might run a few minutes over with the jewels, just so you guys are aware. Oh, goodness. Slipped over on me, didn't it? And look at how perfect that turned out. Oh, y'all, I love the nested products. They're just so versatile and can be used so much. And I will not get rid of that. There is so much stuff left over on here that I can use this for. So this is going to go in the scrap bin. And finally, let's grab this guy and get him cut out. I have to remember which size he is. Is it this one? Yes. Ooh, almost just barely made it right on that cardstock. Okay. I think that's the right one. Let me check. I'm pretty certain. Yep, that's the right one. That one would cut off too much. So double, I was double guessing myself there. But that's definitely the right one. I just got to get it nice and lined up. Okay. Oh, yes. See the chatter about florals and love florals. Of course, we love florals. And I just love that they're so different and they're so whimsical. And even though we come out with a lot of florals, they're different every time. And then look at that. Look at how beautiful these are going to, oops, I'm kind of off camera. going to layer together on my card front. I'm super thrilled with how that turned out. Okay. You know, guys, I just realized I did not create a card base for it today. A little bit of an oversight there, getting ready. I got everything else ready and forgot to do that. So I am going to, you might hear me bumping around in here, but give me 1 second while I grab a card base for today. Okay, friends, I'll be right back. Okay, I've got a pink and a navy, and I think navy is probably going to be too dark. It almost looks that black on my video. It's definitely navy, but I have a feeling that it's maybe going to be a little too dark for what I want. I think we're probably going to go with the pink, but we'll see. I'm going to keep them both here for a minute. I am going to take them off camera because they throw my exposure off so much. But let's go ahead and get some things going on these here. First things first, let's prep the foam panel here. And get a nice big piece of foam tape created. This is just white craft foam. You can get it anywhere. Big craft stores like Michael's, I think places like Walmart and such carry them. And also even get them on Amazon. They've got some great prices on big packs of them on Amazon as well. And then this is 5-inch score tape, which I do typically get on Amazon. Sometimes I get it directly from the company, which is ScorePal, if they have like a sale or a deal going on, but typically the best price I find it is on Amazon. And once again, it's just 5-inch score tape. So I can make these big panels of foam adhesive so that my cards aren't saggy. Alrighty. Let's go ahead and get that adhered down. So this is where I'm going to test out my card bases because I know I want that. And these are going to kind of flank it. You know what, friends? I may be leaning towards the navy just because that pink is a little bright for the foiling, if I'm being completely honest. So I may lean towards that darker navy color. All right. I think I'm just going to call it. I'm going to go with the navy color. Oops. We'll pick that up later. All right. And so it's really dry in my house now. And so I've noticed when it's drier, I get more of those little paper fibers on the side. So I just kind of wipe them off with my fingers. Not a big deal. I should put a humidifier in my room. Okay, get that guy nice and centered. Kind of looks like this card base is a little smaller than 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, but you want to know what? I'm just going to go with it. Okay. And then I know I want to pop these circles up with some foam. So let's go ahead and get some foam tape on the back of them. I love the scallop Coverplate die. It's one of my favorites. It's just a nice, subtle texture that it adds, or a little nice, subtle design. And it just looks so nice on the back. All right, and these ones, I think I'm just going to need 2 little smaller pieces. Okay. All right. I think I'm going to layer the smaller one. Oops, come on. Oh, I'm glad you guys like the navy. That's awesome. And I think I just want this to line up. Well, I can spin it any way I want to, I guess, when it's time to put it on the card, can't I? Okay, so I'm just getting it nice and centered. Oh, and that's going to be so fun, popping up off the middle. Oh, you know what I didn't do? I didn't poke out the little chads from this die. So I'm going to go ahead and get that done now so that those aren't in there. Thank you guys. I'm glad you like the colors. And that was a nice reply, Heather, about the looking kind of like high-end stationery. So then I think we're going to angle, I'm trying to remember if I want to go top and bottom or angled on the side. You know what? I think I'm liking top and bottom on this one. So let's go ahead and get our circles adhered down. So those are in place. And we're going to get it as centered as possible just by eyeballing it on our card here. Maybe. There we go. I have misplaced my liquid glue. There it is. Alrighty. I love everyone's ginormous tape rolls. I know it's a huge roll. I want to try out a couple that Laura B mentioned, but I'm going to use up that 3M foam tape first because that stuff is expensive. So it doesn't need to go to waste. All right, there we go. Had to get that glue down to the bottom. I'm just going to put a little liquid glue underneath and then kind of tuck those flowers in underneath the circles. Ooh, stay where you are. We'll set them in place there. Okay, and then I'm going to kind of ruffle them up. And then I think same with this guy. I'm going to do the same thing. Yeah, right. I'm going to give him a little fluff here. Add the liquid glue. I'm going to have to refill my liquid glue here soon. I have to shake it down to the top a lot. That just tells me I have done a lot of fantastic crafting with my liquid glue, right? Okay. There's that. All right, and then let's grab some thin foam strips. And we are going to also pop up the sentiment. I just want to kind of get it arranged in here the way that I think it will look best. Okay. I'm not going to leave that little guy out. I bet you I'll find a place for him. So just bear with me while I get that figured out. Jane is asking, do you ever make a card that turns out so pretty that you hate to give it up? Not really. I'm kind of terrible about sending cards in general, but I'm getting better about it. But I always feel like if I love a card so much, I could recreate it if I needed to. Okay. There's that. Danica, these are actually the circles from the circle set, not the arch set. Okay. So then we're going to tuck this guy up here. I'm not completely sure where you're going to go, little flower, because I'm going to put jewels here. Maybe. Maybe you'll just go right now. You might just tuck in right here. Yep. We're going to find a spot for him because I can't leave the little flower behind. He's got to go in somewhere. So we're just going to kind of tuck you right in there, just to kind of flank off the sentiment. Perfect. Maybe. Okay. We'll give it a little time to dry and then I'll kind of wiggle it in there. He might have to have a little piece of foam tape underneath it. There we go. That's cute. Okay, guys. thank you for bearing with me while I've gone a little bit over today. I think the foiling took me a little longer than I expected. I got chatty during the foiling process, sharing my newfound information. Okay, so let's go ahead. We're going to dump out a little bit of the Twilight glitter drops. How fun are those? And we are going to do the Starry Sky. And the Starry Sky is kind of a mixture of blue and black and silver or white, maybe white, silver, kind of. I think that's kind of a either or on that. I'm just going to flip some over so I can see them. I know someone gave us like the shaking tip a while back, and I'm going to be honest, it just does not work for me. They just shake the other way and they go on their front. So I must be doing something wrong with that tip. So this one works just fine for me, flipping them over with my fingers so I can see them a little bit better. And it looks like Heather did announce the winner just because I am running a little bit over. And if you guys need to get out of here, we totally understand. So congratulations to Heidi Myers for winning today's $15 gift card code. You see the information there that Heather has given you for claiming your prize. Send an email to me. It's leah@pinkfreshstudio.com, and there's no H on the end of my name. Can we just marvel at how gorgeous these new glitter drops are? I'm just kind of dying over how beautiful they are. Okay, I don't need that end anymore. I need the wax tip end. So let's go ahead and grab, I think we're going to start with the blue glitter drop, and then we're going to go in with one of these fancy pinky toned ones. I'm just trying to find the exact one that I want. Maybe that guy? Yeah. And then we'll do one more small guy in the blue there. And then I think I don't have room to do any more on the circle. So I might just add a nice little trio out here so I can have a few more glitter drops on my card. And then actually we're going to go with just a little double set up here because these are so pretty. Oh, that's the same size. Let's grab the smaller guy. There we go. Oh, cannot get over how amazing these glitter drops are. I'm just thrilled with how they turned out. So let's, I know I am the only one with the Twilight glitter drops right now. Of course, I had to get them first for photography purposes. So I'm kind of spoiled right now. They're so pretty. And like I confessed earlier, I 100% picked the colors of my card based on the fact that I wanted to use these two glitter drops. Oh, that got away from me, didn't it? These little ones are the hardest ones for me to flip over. Okay. There's that. Hopefully I'm not doing this off camera. I'm not. Oh, that was not enough glue. There we go. And then this little duo up here. And that is our card today, friends. Get that stopped up here. I think go too far over, a little over, not too far. So there you have it. There is our card. These Sue, these ones are multicolors that I use today. So they're ombre, so they fade from color to color. So you'll see in Starry Sky, it's kind of a fade of blue, black, and silver. And I stuck to the ones that were just blue and silver. And I kind of think the silver equates to white, so it works just fine with the gold embossing. And then the Twilight is a combination of, it's listed in the product descriptions. I think it's pink, possibly purple, and white. There might be black in there too. I'm not for sure on that one. So that's my card for today. I am going to get this flipped back around to me, and I will let you guys go. Gotta find my Zoom session. There it is. I minimized it and I couldn't see it. Goodness, Leah. Okay. All right. So thank you guys so much for joining me today. And thank you guys for bearing with me, going about 10 minutes over. I think my foiling took me a little longer than I expected it to today. So congrats to Heidi on winning today's gift card code. And other than that, let's see. What do we have lives this week? So we do have a live on Thursday. It's a scrapbooking live with Kathleen. I will mention it's going to be an hour later on Thursday. This is just a one-time change to help with her schedule this week. So be on the lookout for an email and also in our Instagram stories. But the scrapbooking live with Kathleen this coming Thursday will be at 1 p.m. Central Time rather than noon. And then other than that, I think that's everything I have for you guys today. So thank you guys so much for joining me. I'm going to let you go kind of quickly here because I did go over. So I hope you guys enjoyed getting another peek at our new release. Our new release is available in our online shop. I believe, I think they said that the circles are either getting restocked or they've been restocked. I did not know that they went out of stock from yesterday. So, and Heather will see you. Heather will be moderating in the comments on our Thursday live. Once again, that's at 1 p.m. Central Time this weekend rather than noon. All right, friends, have a great rest of your week. And hopefully we'll see you here on Thursday. Bye.